This isn't me at all. Need to change it up. I've seen the light, but it doesn't mean that much. I can't fall asleep. I may never get up into the night. I think my time is up and I've seen the light. That's enough. So I try softness, sometimes mistaken for kindness. But if I'm too kind, that's weakness. Till I become blind and sleepless. Can't treat this, so I'm faithful to those I feel deserve love. But I guess that's everyone. Not sure that I have enough. And nobody made me feel this way. And now I'll never be the same. Hang up the phone and scream your name again. But I like the pain. And I've seen the light, but it doesn't mean that much. I can't fall asleep. I may never get up into the night. I think my time is up and I've seen the light. That's enough. And I'm just a I've seen the light, but it doesn't mean that much. I can't fall asleep. I may never get up into the night. I think my time is up and I've seen the light. That's enough, 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 enough. I've seen the light, but it doesn't mean that much. I can't fall asleep. I may never get up into the night. I think my time is up and I've seen the light. That's enough.
You're listening to Sister Kids on CKUW 95.9 FM, bringing the issues of youth in and from care, from their lives to your minds.
Hello. Hello. Welcome to today's show. Sorry, my perfect, much better. Welcome to today's show. Woohoo!
Hello.
You're on. Yeah.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There we go. Sorry.
That's okay.
So, welcome. We are November 25th. I cannot believe we're a month away from Christmas.
30 more days or something.
30, yeah, pretty much on the
Around
dot.
there.
It's exactly a month. How? Like, there's barely even snow. It's, like, I'm from Thompson, and middle of October, you've got 5 feet of snow. So, this whole just a little bit is fabulous. Anyway, I'm Kaylee, along with my other host,
Sonia.
and our guest,
SHLEE.
Perfect. And so the three of us are going to be talking to you today about
Segment 4 of empowerment.
exactly segment 4 of empowerment. But before that, why don't we start off with like a little bit of a icebreaker? Okay. Well, in the spirit of the holidays, as it's like right around the corner, SHLEE, do you have like a favorite Christmas memory maybe?
Never really. No, was never really my thing. I'm very like traditional and old school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you typically do like anything on Christmas, or?
I guess around Christmas time, it's like a festive season for all religions and cultures around the world. So I just kind of like do whatever's like, you know, my own thing.
Sorry, I did say Christmas. I probably should have said holiday because
There's
you're right.
like there's
a
other
lot
traditions,
of people,
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm a very worldly person when it comes to that, so I'm just kind of open to everything.
Well, and I love that. I truly respect people that are like more worldly, as some people have said. What was I gonna? Oh yeah, have you ever been involved with the Voices Christmas parties or anything like that?
I have,
Yeah?
a couple times over the years. I'd come just to like have a dinner with people because I'd be like, I'd rather be at the homeless shelter here because I don't really have like a direct family. So I'm just like, I'd rather go hang out with homeless people or kids from care.
Well, I feel like Voices has kind of become a family of choice for
Yeah,
many people.
Yeah. It's definitely a good resource for people and you're like, oh, where do I go? What do I do?
Well, and maybe some people don't actually know what a family of choice is. Could you maybe define it?
Defining what your family is like people you feel, and let's not get this confused with trauma bonding because that's a thing too.
That's totally...
Yeah, it's like sometimes trauma makes people relate and that's not always healthy. But like if somebody has like a family is somebody who like understands you for like how you think, how you feel, how you see the world,
your
and
unique self.
Yeah, your uniqueness, and they don't judge you and they just accept you. And I don't know, I'm very like tribal with my beliefs in some regards too, so I'm very like accepting and understanding of all types of people. So like I think we need like bridgers in the community that are like helpers, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Versus being like, but yeah, everybody needs like
bridgers. I like that. But yes, family,
like mediators, like people
yeah.
who know to go in between stuff. But
yeah, no, for sure. No, I appreciate that. I think that it's really cool that you've been part of our the Voices Christmas events. We will talk about that in a few minutes for ours coming up this year. How about you, Sonia? Do you have a favorite Christmas memory? Thank you, SHLEE.
you're welcome.
Memories.
People. I don't know.
Community.
Christmas.
I'm actually
holiday?
kind of a Grinch when it comes to Christmas.
Are you? Okay.
Yes, but
you guys are giving me so much to go on.
But I'm gonna say I do like, you know, how the city, you know, they decorate like downtown and Maine and stuff, and the lights. And one thing I remember as a kid is my dad taking us driving and just looking at houses, you know, how they're decorating and stuff.
Yep.
So that's probably my favorite memory. But
is there
an
area you like to go to
no,
look at
I mean,
lights?
I think because we were, I mean, there was 5 of us, so it was a good family thing to do.
Yeah.
And then, I think Christmas, it's just nice how everyone, or I mean, like public places, I guess, they just get so in the spirit.
Yeah, for sure.
So feeling that energy from everyone, it's nice.
They're almost a little too eager. It's like Christmas stuff comes out before Remembrance Day.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
in
Yeah,
my opinion.
It comes out right after Halloween, which kind of scares me.
yeah.
It's like you got like 2 more holidays in between,
Yeah.
don't you? Anyway, Christmas is a big one for sure. I'll answer my own question. My favorite, my favorite memory for Christmas. I don't really have a favorite memory, but I love traditions. I think from whatever traditions I have from my family growing up, whether it's my bio family or my families of choice, I try to carry those traditions with me. So like in my own home, I've introduced, I guess this is one of my favorite things, I've introduced these Christmas Eve boxes. So on Christmas Eve, that's when we open like pajamas and a book and candy, and then we eat the popcorn and the candy and the pajamas, reading the book.
You eat the pajamas?
We eat the pajamas, yes.
Just kidding.
Chocolate flavored. No. But Christmas, regardless if you've had good experiences, bad experiences, it is a holiday that most people celebrate in one way or another. And for Voices, we have our Christmas party coming up. And it is specifically, we are the only youth serving organization that holds Christmas on Christmas Day. So December 25th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., we are hosting our Christmas party. So if you are looking for somewhere to come and celebrate Christmas, please let us know. Call in, email us. We are located at 61 Juno. And our phone number is 204-982-4956. And you can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So you could reach out in any of those ways. And yeah, let us know. We would love to have you.
You know what's really cool?
What?
That you guys moved to Juno Street, and Juno's like the goddess of the mother goddess or something.
Really?
Yeah, it's like this mythology or something. Juno's like the god of motherhood or some weird thing. I'd have to look it up, but
I did not know that.
So it's
honestly,
like,
whenever I hear Juno, I think of that movie Juno.
yeah,
It's
it
just,
means like the
critters
mother or
and-
like pregnancy. It's like the fertility. It's
I
weird.
wonder if that's why Juno, the movie Juno, was
I don't
named
know.
Juno.
I wonder. I've never seen that movie, but every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, the mother, let's go back home.
Very cool. Learn something new. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Juno. Now I think I actually like that name. Never really liked the name because of the movie, but now that I know what it
It's like,
means.
it's neat. Yeah. Look
Yeah.
it up. Yeah.
No, it's a very interesting.
yeah.
So, aside from our Christmas party, our Christmas festive annual family party, we are also going to be hosting our 24th birthday party. So this will be held on December 2nd, so it's actually before our Christmas party. We will be celebrating coming together, being an organization, all the previous alumni. We will be celebrating scholarship recipients, 5 previous retired volunteers, and it's just going to be a great time. And we're going to have some really amazing people, great activities. I feel like we have some prizes and some gifts to go out. So that, yeah, again, that's Tuesday, December 2nd, which is next Tuesday. And it's going to be a good time. So give us a shout, and we'd love to tell you some more information. I feel like I've taken up enough time here. Sonia, you want to
Jump into the next
jump
segment?
into our rights? Oh, actually, SHLEE was going to grace us with the rights
sure.
highlight today.
So, Right 21, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. You have the right to care and protection if you are in foster care of adoption.
Awesome.
That is that right. You have that. That is yours. Take it and own it and run with it.
So you have the right to care and protection if you are in foster care or adopted. So
I hope that helped.
So SHLEE, why
Definitely did.
you're from care?
Yeah.
So hearing you have the right to care and protection, what does that mean to you or to youth in care?
For me personally,
Yeah, well, that's really all we can speak to.
right, sometimes institutions or places fail to protect kids from other people or adults around them, so it's kind of confusing and tricky for me. I actually had an opportunity to sue a hospital at one point.
Whoa.
So that's tricky for me, right? It's a hard one. But you have the right to care and protection. That means you have the right to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself and go to authorities if you feel like you've been violated in some way. Like that includes mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. And
So what is the message there for youth in care? Is there a message?
It's tricky because even sometimes, depending on the institutions or places that kids are put into, sometimes people don't listen. So then you end up growing up repeating yourself all the time because you have this weird thing in you. You're like, oh, nobody hears me. You repeat yourself, and people tell me I've done that from time to time, like, because it's kind of tricky. But so just try to speak up for yourself and others if you see something wrong. That's all you can do.
Well, and that goes quite well with our theme for the month of empowerment.
Yeah.
From going from feeling powerless to feeling empowered to self-empowerment to empowering others. It's all about being able to share your story, right?
Yeah.
And stick up for yourself in the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. How about Sonia? What does this mean to you?
I actually
Thank
think
you.
this goes hand in hand with right for 42. The government should make the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child known to caregivers and children.
Right, yeah.
And I'm just thinking back to when we went to one of our last APR visits, and we mentioned to one of the young lady, do you know your rights? Do you know what the UN convention, and she was like, no, what is that? And then the workers were kind of like, oh yeah, we used to have a poster. We're like, and in my head when I was reading over this, right, I was like, all these places should have these access to these posters so these kids can have access to know their rights, right? And it's so difficult because it's like, she said, oh, once upon a time we had them. So it's like, okay, well, where are they? Do you want a new one? And it was kind of like, for me, like, you know, this young participant mentioned that she's been in care her whole life, and she didn't know about this till now. And so it's kind of like, now that she knows, it's like, okay, she's getting more, you know, educated on what her rights are.
Not only what her rights are, but what rights are in general.
Yeah, exactly right. Like the rights that the government has the right to protect you. The your family should. There was one that we talked about before. You know, your family should teach you your rights.
Yeah, your family or the government must teach you your rights.
Yeah, and then just like you have the right to play, you have the right to do this, and I feel just participants that we've come into contact with, like, they're so, you know, they're in this box of like what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
And even just this one little poster, if they see it, they could be like, no, I have this right to do this. I have the right to play. I have the right to culturally appropriate services, things like that, you know?
Absolutely. And SHLEE,
I was
sounding
eager to
like
say
you were.
that right now.
Yeah.
I'm like freaking out over here.
She's like,
Yeah, nope.
I didn't start learning about my rights maybe till like just over a couple years ago, and I'm almost 30, so I get it.
Yeah.
I totally
did
get it.
you, sorry, you can keep going, but did you find out about your rights from Voices?
Just over, yeah, kind of. And then just over time through like word of mouth, talking to people, just, you know, sometimes unfortunately what trauma does, and when you have trauma that makes you have trust issues, blah, 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 you isolate because you don't trust people, and then you don't trust their intentions, or they're trying to be happy and show you love and everything, and you're freaking out because you're like thinking they have ulterior motives. So before we started doing this month, Marie had these 2 small little booklets in regards to the truth and reconciliation.
Yes, I remember you carrying those around. Yeah.
And then another booklet of the UN rights. And I'm
of
like,
the indigenous people.
Yeah, of the indigenous people. And I'm like, wherever these came from, there needs to be like, each CFS agency needs to be like producing little booklets for kids, because, and then maybe just have like somebody come in like a reader and just read it out loud so they can hear you, but have those physical boundaries and space in place, or like, do you know what I mean? Like,
well,
I don't know.
No, that's an amazing idea. And like, honestly, I'm surprised we don't, like, what Richard. Yeah. So we met a youth in care network representative. He works for the youth in care in Alberta. Saskatchewan. Thank you. I get those 2 confused all the time. So they are completely just like us. They are youth driven, come from youth brains, and they create from what is the idea from youth. Anyway, they have a book that they have created. They have 2 books actually, and they're currently in the process of making an app for their Saskatchewan youth.
Right.
And it has all your rights, plus like what it means to be in youth, in care, and resources within like their communities that they can access, and that's all in like the first book. And then they have a second book on, again, it repeats rights, but it also is about leaving care and transitioning out, and what those, like what that reality looks like. And those books are amazing. I guess
I'm like really, I guess like I'm really like amped up or like excited about the idea of that, is because it's like sometimes like kids with like autism or ADHD, like I know I can say for me personally speaking, like the trauma that I endured when I was younger, my early 20s, I was so like, I'm still like, I have memory problems. So like me trying to focus and read something is like, because you know what happens to a lot of kids when they're in care, like they get abused or they get neglected, they don't know how to advocate or ask for help. So you literally need to be like self-aware enough and in tune with what that effective trauma does to a person, to be able to be like, hey, this is a part of procedure, we have to read these things to you, so you can feel like you can develop properly.
And that requires training, you know, professionals or community representatives to be able to offer that. But also, it is a skill to be self-aware, right? That is, not everyone is self-aware.
No.
Up until about 3 years ago, I had no idea who I was. I was, like what you're describing, I was living each moment, but I couldn't really remember what I had done the week before, and everything was go, 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 but I was just kind of like
But that's just
a
normal
ghost.
too.
I was just like watching things go by.
Yeah.
And that went on for so long, and then I started doing different methods of self-awareness and becoming more, like doing more reflections on myself. And I feel like it is definitely a skill, and our month theme has a lot to do with that, actually, because being self-aware,
being empowered.
Exactly. Being self-aware is actually the very first step to becoming self-empowered, is to be aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, where you put up your walls, where you feel insecure, all of those.
There's such thing as being too self-aware, so be careful with that one too.
Can you explain a little more?
Yes,
Well,
I'm intrigued.
PTSD makes you hyper-aware, right? So,
Yeah.
which is like an amplified sense of your self-awareness and others.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know. That's not really being empowered. There's like a spectrum of things. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And everybody's on like a spectrum of like whatever their own thing. So, like, trying to like empower people to being on like a balanced, healthy spectrum of.
That's the word, healthy. Healthy.
Empowered.
Good.
Awesome.
I don't know.
Hit it on the, what is that saying? Hit the nail on the head or something? Hit the head on the nail? No,
Hit the nail on
not
the
that
head.
one.
Wait, hit the.
I'm not sure.
I think we're.
Yep, different radio show.
This is normal. Okay.
All right.
We're having a jargon.
So, well, I mean, I was hoping Sonia would ask me this question.
Oh,
Why
yeah,
do
yeah.
I feel it's...
No, I can still do this. Why do we or you feel that this right is important for youth in care?
Well, thanks for asking, Sonia. I appreciate it. So I feel that this right, once again, I'll just give a little reminder, it's the right to care and protection if you are a foster child or you're adopted. So care and protection, those are the key words there. I think it's incredibly important for youth in care and for those that are adopted, because when we're young and we're raised kind of in a in a functioning home, whether it's with your parents or it's in another family, it's a family of choice, what have you, that is the time when we learn how to trust. It's when we learn how to open up, be comforted, be nurtured, how to love, like Lil Wayne says. We were just listening. Yeah. So we learn that when we're growing up. So if these aspects are not present, so if these things don't happen when you're growing up, it get a little how do I say this?
Breathe.
Thank you. So there's an opportunity for poor attachment.
Ooh, attachment issues.
Yes.
Yeah. Trauma bonding.
Many people know about attachment issues, but
love is an attachment.
It is an attachment, and a lot of, like, everyone pretty much has heard of what attachment, like, of attachment.
I think they said there's like 4 types of attachment or something.
5. Okay.
There's probably like
there is a bunch. There's secure, insecure.
And how do you identify those?
So there's actually multiple ways to identify kind of what attachment style. I just want to just take one step back though. So attachment is created when you're growing up in a nurturing home, or you can be attached to people who are not nurturing either, but that's on kind of on the other side of the scale. But it's learning how to trust and be trusted and everything, and it creates that bond, that strong bond. So if you don't have that bond and that security, absolutely, when you get older, that's when you'll start noticing things start happening. Like, they often will refer to daddy issues, and that's why women like to go for the bad boys, and it is a terrible example, but that result is from a poor attachment to their fathers.
Okay, what about this? This is another, let's
Yes.
say, more of
mommy
a...
issues too. Like abuse.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Well, so, like, this is my next
Yes.
example. So, for example, when a baby cries, they cry, then their needs are met, whether they're, they need their diaper changed, they need to be fed, they need to be cuddled. But when you cry and those needs aren't being met by the person that's supposed to be meeting those needs, your parent or whoever it is, your caregiver, then you'll form an unnecessary or an unhealthy and insecure attachment, right?
Yes.
You're going to grow up
not knowing if you can fully depend on them to respond to you.
Right. So that's,
And yes. So, whether you feel that you have a secure attachment, insecure attachment,
there's avoidant.
There's avoidant. There's
unresolved.
I've written so many papers on this topic. Anyway, if you do not grow up in a home where, these attachments are strong, later in life, you're more likely to have a poorer lifestyle. And that's not saying that there's no hope. Once you are self-aware enough to know what kind of attachment style you have, that is when you can start making those small changes. That is when you can start kind of shaping yourself rather than having the environment shape you. So to me, that is why this is important. It's to be cared, to be safe, meaning the bonds that you create with people are not going to be negatively affected. Anyway, so it's therefore the roles of caregivers, foster families, etc. to provide these to youth in care. So for me, this right benefits the youth in this moment to be nurtured and safe, but it's also a large aspect for healthy growth when becoming an adult. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was a lot of words.
That was good. I've only recently learned about some of these terms and stuff since I got sober, which was almost 4 to 3 years ago.
Hey, that's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, and I never had addiction issues, but I just, the fact that how I observed whatever, alcohol is just bad. But yeah.
And you have realized that over the years?
Yeah, but if you have stuff related to being empowered and being a kid and cared, you know how everything ties into everything else.
Of course. That's
so,
literally
it's
even just talking about attachment.
No, it ties into that too.
It ties into that. Yeah. 100%. No, and so I know we're talking about attachment right now, but just to kind of switch topics a little bit, this month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Isn't it every day or every month has a hashtag or a
yeah. So not only is it Domestic Violence Awareness Month, it is also Indigenous Peoples Awareness Month. So we thought it suiting to present to you Webang Abenujiak. Hopefully I said that right. I think I aced
Is
it.
this person Indigenous?
This is not a person. This is an organization.
Oh my god.
No,
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry, that's funny.
So Webang Abenujiak is an organization at 225 Dufferin Street, so the North End. The phone number is 925-46-10. So Webang Abenujiak actually means children of tomorrow. So that's kind of cool. So it offers a safe space for women, kids, and youth to go when they're facing domestic violence. So intimate partner violence, whether you're seeing violence between people or you're experiencing violence, this can be a place for you. Some of their programs include, they've got a mother and kids program. They've got a traditional Indigenous parenting program. They have women's circles, domestic violence workshops, empowering Indigenous women and girls. They have a junior and senior youth group.
I like that.
Right. Let's see. They've got aftercare and drop-in programs, drum groups, sewing groups, those ones, healing ceremonies. So today I was talking with one of their representatives, and I was asking kind of how youth in care can use these services. So basically what she said was just come in and just drop in, and you can have one-on-one services, you can have counseling services, you can just go there and be with people who, in a safe environment, you can go there and ask for advocacy, they do referrals, any of those things, and you just go there, and they will help you to the best of their abilities. And it sounds like just an amazing program. Oh yeah, what do you think?
That sounds great to me.
I like how they separate the junior and senior youth. So for junior, it's 6 to 12, and then senior, it's 13 to 18. And then, you know, I think that's, well, for me at least, that's one of the first community connections that I've seen where it's the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It goes
so I think
young.
that's good, especially for, you know, if it's showing. I mean, for women that have, you know, kids and then they can't get that childcare to attend programs like this.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, young
And so
mothers.
they start
and
it young.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. And she actually spoke to that when I was talking to her today. She said, that in those programs, they touch on a lot that might be a similar reality for youth in care. So she did say that the material that they go through in their programming is very relatable for those who are in care. And then she also said, they work with family reunification.
Okay, that's
so
awesome.
that is kind of a
Big one.
Yeah, big one. It's family reunification is for some, like, that's huge. They also work with communication. So with those two, that is their kind of effort. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, the place is called Wabung Abenujiak, and check it out. It sounds absolutely amazing.
All right. Thanks for that, Kaylee.
You're welcome.
So we're going to go into a song break, and I'm going to just talk about the song after the song.
Sounds good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So this song is called Home to Me by Grassy Narrows First Nation. I hope you all enjoy. And then I'm going to have to just let you know, guys know a little bit more about what the song means, and you will see shortly.
Keep the always that we've always had. It still lives inside. This is a place where we love the land. Let's work to show our pride. Keep us safe, keep us free, like it used to be. Don't wanna be tied down. We find love where we're from and beat against the drums. It's a beautiful sound.
From the ground up, we'll find the path home. Feel pulled by the sun, wish I can go. We learn from the past, now we can grow. We're promised a chance that the plans show. Go big, go far, there are no limits. I wanna see change, so my soul lives it. They cut down the trees while we blow kisses. Defend our home while they dismiss us.
It feels like home to me. It feels like home to me. Sometimes it's hard to find the words to say home to me. Don't be afraid when you're falling in fast. There's something in the unknown. I held on to my culture, it's been calling me back. There is a story of hope. Winds of change long ago, hear the chants far and low. Our voices cried out for rain. Then it rained, brought us life, gave us faith, gave us sight. To see that we shall remain.
Let your spirit soar as far as you can. Try not to be reminded by
by the scars from the past. Rise from the ruins, keep protecting the land. Don't take it for granted, can't neglect what we have. Stand together as a nation, express what we feel. True conversation, address what is real. Connected to the land, we are one with each other. This is our home to discover. Gotta stay on point like the fastest arrow. Bring hope to the people of grassy narrows. One piece in the land, can't go back to battles. Eighth fire in action, casting shadows. From old to the new, let us show you the truth. Light up the path, there's a glow in the youth. Boost you to the world, this is where we live. So let the journey begin.
It feels like home to me. 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 Sometimes it's hard to find the words to say you're home to me. Sometimes it's hard to find the words to say you're home to me.
Okay, what'd you guys think about that?
That was a nice song. I liked it.
Like the
I
beat?
love power
Love
music. So
it. No, they
It's awesome.
are so good.
Yeah, and the reason why I chose this song for today's show, if you know, for our listeners that don't know, between 1962 and 1970, the Reed Paper Company dumped more than 9,000 kilograms of mercury into the Wabigoon and English River systems out in Ontario, and slowly that mercury poisoned all the waters, main staple of food for local First Nations, and then it made the food and, you know, the wildlife and all that sort of
Poisoned.
yeah, poisoned. And for those that like had, you know, the what's the word, hunting for animals and stuff, you know, that was their main staple. They couldn't eat that stuff anymore. So
that's
basically
depressing.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, what's even more sad is that a lot of them developed this disease called Minamata disease, and it's a neurological disorder.
Of course.
And so it kind of like
So neurological is your brain.
yes, good. And it basically just includes numbness in your limbs as well, difficult walking, slurred speech, impaired hearing, and paralysis and death. And nothing has been done to clean up
Yeah.
anything.
Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
All right. So what was it, last week? I went to a discussion, and it was actually presented by it was from Amnesty International,
Okay.
which is a global relief organization. And they were there with two youth from Grassy Narrows. And they were talking about the mercury epidemic that has been going on for over 50 years in this tiny community. And this one guy, or the one youth, he had said how his 2-year-old nephew just has like sores all over his body because they can't be bathed much. Like, there is so much happening. Their food, their water, their crops, their animals, everything is being affected. And there has been some acknowledgement that it needs to be fixed, but nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. And it's just getting completely out of hand. So for anyone who's interested, Amnesty International has they have a thing, it's called Right to Rights, and you basically write to Trudeau saying this is a messed up situation and they need our help and our support, and I'm writing to you to be like, this is enough. So check out Amnesty International Grassy Narrows if you would like to learn more about that. Anyway, that was my piece.
It's awesome. So we're just
I know indifference isn't wrong, but like sometimes it's hard to feel depressed all the time. Like when you hear stuff like that, it's difficult. It's like I can't feel bad because other people aren't doing, helping or being mindful of things. So like, what do you feel? Like you have no choice but to feel indifferent sometimes. Sorry, I just
It's a good point.
Does that make sense though?
It
It's like,
it does.
You can only do so much, and you can only try to convince others to
Well, for me, I found this out just recently, so I'm like, what? So it's kind of like, for me, like, exactly what can I do? And what can I do is just bring the message out there, right? Like, there is only so much you can do.
Well, and that's often
From a
the
certain
issue
standpoint.
with the, like, horrendous treatment of Indigenous people and the issues that are surrounding it is everyone knows it's a problem, but the actual individual stories are not getting out there.
No. So it's like, how do you get involved? Is like, is that the next
exactly.
question?
Like, do we need to protest and riot on the streets like has been happening all over the world? Like,
but the military, they get them involved as soon as we try to do that. Look what happened to North Dakota in 2016.
Well,
I had a
hope
friend that
Canada would be a little bit better than that. Hopefully. Hey, I mean, they rioted in
We need like
Argentina
Gandalf or something.
Yes.
Gandalf
If
is
anyone knows a wizard, please send him our way.
We're located at 61 Juno.
We're located at 61
So on another note, guys, listeners, I'm going to talk about the weather a little bit. We're sitting at, I think,
Small talk.
Good transition.
Negative. I mean, a -5, chance of light snow. It'll really, tongue tied.
Words.
It already was snowing when we were coming here. Let's see, for the rest of the week, it's gonna be a nice week. Wednesday -2, mainly cloudy. Thursday -9, cloudy. Friday -4, snow. And then Saturday, Sunday. Well, Saturday's gonna be chance of flurries, and then Sunday sunny. So welcome to Winnipeg weather.
However, there's barely any snow, so
Yeah.
I take that as a win. Like, again, we're almost December,
Yeah.
and we're not even in the -20s, guys.
But climate change.
But climate
Exactly,
change,
another-
though. Another
I'm
one of those
like- I know.
indifferent things.
My hopes aren't very high, honestly, just knowing how everybody wants to watch and play
As
sports.
horrendous as climate change is, I do enjoy the warmer weather.
Right.
Can I say that without sounding horrible?
No,
Not
it
even
doesn't sound horrible. It is what it is.
I enjoy it too, and I
Maybe-
think that's why I feel bad right now,
Yeah, but I did want to say, like, the word you used was indifferent.
Yeah, it's like we're just like...
I don't know if indifferent would be the word that I would use, but that experience that, like,
That makes-
you're so overwhelmed
That you're
with
just
all the
numb.
negative information that is, negative events that are happening around you, that you become, one, used to hearing these stories, but two, you become numb. You eventually
that's
emotionally
kind of-
withdraw because you just cannot take it more.
Right.
And that, again, goes
Even-
with our power, because being self-aware, you are able to then recognize that that's an area for you.
Compassion fatigue?
Compassion fatigue?
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Well, yeah, compassion fatigue.
Is that...
I think, that's what we're talking.
Yeah, when feeling indifferent.
Good job,
like
Sonia.
Wow, that's not my idea. But
almost acceptance for all
somewhere, little birdie. was
Thanks,
saying.
little birdie.
it's almost like acceptance for all the flaws that we are as humans.
Yeah, well, and that's
It's
definitely
like-
a part to it, for sure.
That's- Yeah, ties into a bigger picture.
But I don't know if acceptance or just
It's
so tired of it. Just...
But you're not. It's weird, right?
Right?
I
And
know,
that's where
it's
it goes
weird.
into that indifferent
Yeah, it's
thing.
really, it's,
you know?
humans we're complicated creatures. We're trying to understand ourselves. We're not even hitting the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So
Tip of the iceberg, which brings me to the next segment. No, because that was in the article that I want to talk about.
it's funny. I just said no.
Perfect. So there was a study in Montreal that confirms that young people who leave youth protection at age 18, they face a lot of instability in their lives, and especially when it comes to housing. So basically, it either happens right away, or at least a year after they have aged out of the system. And basically this article, I mean, it's important to talk about because, I mean, yes, this was in Montreal, like we acknowledged that earlier, but or earlier in the day, but it's something that we deal with here in Manitoba or in Winnipeg. You know, like so many youth that we've met, they've said like, or even just one that I didn't necessarily meet, but he was kind of like around when I was hearing his story, and turned 18, and then they were kind of like, Kate, goodbye. And he's like, well, what am I going to do? Like, in order to kind of have an extension of care, you have to be going to school or have a job. And so he had neither. And then in order to apply for school, it was like not until February. So what are you going to do from now till February? And anyways, that was just kind of like something I want to talk about with you guys. Like, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about the instability in housing?
I think there's people with too much money who need to be more empathetic.
Obviously, you're not feeling that indifference.
No,
that
they're
we're
not.
talking about.
They think everything's fine. I literally, when I was younger, I told you guys I was in unhealthy relationships. I kept going back to people who were like, what do you mean the world's blah, blah, blah? It's like, he's like, everything's fine. It's like, no, you're ignorant. You're tuned out because you know, like, if you would try to go and help, you would not be a good helper.
See, and I don't know what's worse, that or conspiracy theorists.
Oh my gosh.
Can you explain conspiracy theorist for
people who believe in like magical things?
Yeah, not magical things.
Kind of along those lines.
Like, you know, Bin Laden was not assassinated. He's still really alive, living in Hawaii. You know,
like
or
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
right.
Obama was. You know, there's so many different
or Obama
conspiracies.
was Osama Bin Laden.
Yes, exactly. And my ex. You're talking about unhealthy relationships. My previous unhealthy relationship, he was a conspiracy theorist, and it was annoying.
Right.
Yeah. So, no. Sorry, guys.
no?
These are all very real
apologize.
things.
No, they are.
They
Look
really
at
are.
politics. I mean, come on.
Oh,
I don't even want to go there. I
No,
don't understand,
let's not go there. We got 50
Okay.
minutes left.
Okay.
But what do you guys honestly think though about
I mean,
housing and youth and care, and you know, you turn 18 and
I'd like to hear Shlee's. Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Housing.
like the article said one particular quote that I just wanted to voice out. So it basically said, or one of the speakers said, you know, it's very unrealistic that because you've turned 18, that automatically you know all of the things to be an adult. And isn't that true? You're not going to know how to be an adult at 18.
Especially if
you
you've
were
not
just
been
17
taught.
the day before.
Yeah, but you also haven't been
Like I
taught
said,
how to be a
there's-
functioning adult.
There's people with too much money who need to be thinking about other people. That's just the bottom line.
So how do we get that message to
Right.
those people in a way that they care?
Right.
That is the
You
million
can't
dollar
make anyone
question.
care though. You can't make
Yeah.
anyone care. That's the thing. It's
No.
up to them.
I feel the
So-
best way to make people care, though, is to make them relate. If you are trying to make
Relatability, right.
relatability,
Right.
exactly, and we will speak more to that in a little bit. But like, how do you feel about this, Shlee? Like, what is there aside from, you know, people having too much money and not enough care for youth and care? What does it say?
It's a heavy question, honestly. It's like it ties into so many other things that are like just too, like, throughout history we've been just repeating horrible patterns of ignorance, and it's kind of a loaded thing.
Yeah.
I think the education system needs to change. They
Yeah.
need to start doing that. And they're even noticed that's been like a thing over the years. They've been noticing kids are different now because the food, how we're, you know, everything has a ripple effect on everything else. So
100%.
so I
The
don't
butterfly
know.
effect, too,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, in my previous practicum, I worked often with people who were homeless, or they were couch surfing, or, as we would say, the housing insecurity. So they just cannot depend on being consistently housed. And I gotta say, like, a lot of them were seniors, and a lot of them were youth. And those were kind of
The spectrum.
yeah, like, it was obviously a spectrum of the people, but we were more seeing it in the youth and more seeing it in the seniors. And, like, for me, I feel that that is where you need the most support. If you are aging well, and, you know, if you are a senior, you need help, you need care, you need support. If you are youth, you need help, you need care, you need support.
Yeah. You have to realize too, like, everyone's literally coming from a place of their own knowledge or experience from the best of their
course.
ability.
Yeah.
So it's like, with that being said, it's tricky, right?
Of course. And like all we can do is just like expect that everyone will do their best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up?
Sorry. Yeah, no, I think it's a really important article, and I think that it is something that we will see until, well, like you said, until we got that rich person that decides to be like, hey,
There's people that
though-
care, but yeah, like, how do you convince?
Apart from that, though, I think like maintaining relationships, getting your community started. So like organizations like Voices, coming to Voices, getting people to advocate, your allies, all that ties into. So you don't end up in that sort of a situation, or at least finding the resources to get you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes, 100%. There was a little video. All right, so it looks like we're running out of time. So it looks like we're not going to be able to talk to you about self-empowerment again.
Maybe you guys will have to come back.
Maybe we'll have to
haunt
try
everyone.
a fifth week to get this one. But in replace of it, we have this wonderful little video from one of our participants that she was really wanting us to share on the air. So it's just like a 30-second clip of her singing a song from the movie Greatest Showman, which we actually just watched in the Voices hangout in our little area in the office. It was amazing. I geeked out a little too hard. I think people could hear me all the way across the office, but that's okay. No shame. So we are gonna get that up and running.
Night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the words could be, the vision of the one I see. A million dreams a comet can take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Yeah, so that was like so cute. We
That was
loved it.
fruit and adorable. Sorry, I was.
Fruit and adorable. I love it. Fruit and adorable.
That was fruit and adorable.
Yes, she is a little sweetie, and she geeked out just as hard as I did for The Greatest Showman.
Encourage your children to sing, please. Don't shame
Heck
them.
Yeah. Music is one of those
Empowering.
global languages that everyone speaks.
Poetry. My friend says we need to speak in poems more, like a long time ago, you know?
Whoa. I feel like that would take so much effort.
Not really. It's just,
Anything can be poetic.
yeah.
Thou art
tone.
ready
The
to...
glittering on my earrings.
Oh, so you mean like Shakespeare? Shakespeare poem.
But come on, we
poetic.
should just have a day where
Thank
we like
thou for
this greeting
joining
and ceremony
us
evening.
hither to present to you a most fabulous... I don't know. I can't do it. I didn't read enough Shakespeare, apparently. Or poetry, apparently. Yeah, okay. So, I don't know. We hope you enjoyed today's show.
It's a new moon, you guys.
It is a new moon.
That means time for new beginnings and just get rid of the old that doesn't work anymore.
Is that what a
Yeah.
new moon means?
Indigenous people know this stuff. Wiccans know this stuff. That thing's glowing in the sky, so.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. It's not the moon, like, and the sun, like, affect things, right? I don't know.
We're going to get a little astrology lesson from SHLEE here.
Yeah, well, our ancient ancestors understood that the planetary bodies had influences on everything,
Heck
including
yeah.
tsunamis and all that.
Well, yeah, that's where you get into that
So,
lunar
yeah,
pull, right?
It's legit.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So new moon, you guys, new times, new things, newness.
And we're almost getting to the point where we got to start making that New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution, yeah.
I felt like that fit quite well. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. All right, so I'm just going to leave you with just a little grain. Just a little grain on self-empowerment. And you can think about this. Hopefully we'll be posting a little bit more about this so that the message can get across, or we can plant this seed. So while we were talking self-empowerment, we kind of found a couple of multiple themes that relates to it. But we kind of came across 3 main ones. So 1 is having shared experiences. 2 is
relatability.
Exactly.
That
Like we said earlier. Yeah. And common goals. Right? So
Very important.
yeah. So if you, like you were talking about the trauma when people connect.
Trauma relating. That's
Yeah.
okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but have boundaries around it.
Exactly. But they are coming together because they A, have a shared experience. B, most likely have some sort of common goal, right?
Right.
And then the third one is, and it ties with all 3, with the other 2, not feeling isolated, not feeling alone,
Right.
not feeling lonely, being able to depend on other people for emotional and physical support as much as you're giving.
I'm still friends with people who are addicts, but I have really strong boundaries with them. Because
Yeah.
I know isolating them's not right.
No,
Right.
and that
Because they need
they need the support.
Yeah.
100%. But there also has to be a time
where they help themselves
when you put yourself
down. Oh, for
first.
sure. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And we'll get more into that next week, but for today, our show is done.
Thank
so
you
thank
for having
you.
me, you guys.
Thanks for
Yes,
joining
That
us.
was
thank
awesome.
you, SHLEE, for joining us.
Yeah.
And again, December 2nd, birthday party. December 25th, Christmas party
For Youth in Care.
for the youth in care.
In and out of care.
In and out of care, voices, Christmas, Old St. Nick, So we hope you have a fabulous week. And thank you for joining us on CKUW. I am Kaylee,
I'm Sonia.
And I'm SHLEE.
and we hope you have a fantastic
Rest of the year.
Woo! And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah, see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Reveal your soul. Reveal. Reveal your soul. Reveal your soul.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting Community Access Radio in Winnipeg.